While much of college football appears to be topsy-turvy here in 2024, there might be one constant or one expected outcome that actually comes true, and that would be Utah dominating the Big 12. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis based on what? Well, your participation. Please leave those comments down below. Join us for our various live streams through the week, including post-game on Saturday night. Give me a call. Utah visiting Oklahoma State for the Big 12 opener, so a huge date for both schools. Of course, Oklahoma State defending traditional Big 12 pride. Utah, the newcomer and the favorite in the conference. They had a quarterbacking situation, of course, that had to be dealt with. Cam Rising missed all of 2023. He played the first couple weeks of this season, hurt his hand against Baylor. He's been questionable and has not played since that incident against the Bears. He split reps with freshman Isaac Wilson in practice. It was considered a game-time decision. Rising was actually on the field taking reps with the first team in pregame. Then it was decided because Kyle Whittingham said it's truly a game-time decision, and they went with the freshman Isaac Wilson, who proved to be, well, he was a top 15 quarterback coming out of high school, and he's an elusive runner. He's a tough runner. He takes on safeties and linebackers like a man with his shoulder and picked up a lot of key yardage plays, a lot of third down conversions with his legs, hit 17 of 29, made a couple bad decisions, especially in the first series of the game, maybe showed some nerves and not quite ready for the situation, but man, he played well. Overall, 207 yards and a touchdown for Isaac Wilson in replacing Cam Rising. This was a brutal game. I watched just about every play of this game. It was a physical football game. So a couple weeks ago, I watched Oklahoma State take on Arkansas and gut out an overtime win, a game in which they were outplayed most of the game, outgained by 280 yards. Now, this was a similar situation in this game. So Oklahoma State, considering the Big 12, they should be okay. But if they were playing some of the more physical teams in college football, they would have some issues. Because in this game, even though it was physical and Oklahoma State stood up to the challenge, Utah was definitely the stronger, more physical football team. Outrushed OK State 249-48. Well, I thought Oklahoma State had the best rusher in college football in Ollie Gordon and a top 5 to 10 offensive line. No, Utah State, much more physical. Won the time of possession with 43 minutes time of possession. Micah Bernard, first running back for Utah since 2018, 6 years ago. Zach Moss to run for over 150 yards. He had a $182. Brant Keithy, security blanket for Cam Rising, one of the best tight ends in the nation when he's healthy. And he hauled in a touchdown in this game. This was Utah's first win over a top 15 team since 2018. Even though they won 2 Pac-12 championships since then, they did not face or defeat, I should say, a top 15 team. And Kyle Whittingham put this on his offensive line time and time again, and they converted 4 of 5 fourth downs. They led this game 22-3. Now, credit Oklahoma State. They stayed in the game. They did not get down. They didn't roll over or anything like that. At 22-3, they came back with a couple scores to make it close at 22-19. But Utah got a first down after the final Cowboys score to salt the game away. But I really had no doubt that Utah was going to win the game. However, 22-19, and Oklahoma State was ready to get the ball back, but could not get the key stop. So that's the situation with Utah. It's a really sound football team. The defense was flying around, doing what you would expect. The secondary's excellent. However, the quarterback play at Oklahoma State, not the best. This is something that they need to get a handle on. We've talked about this many times throughout the last couple of years. Of course, this team went to a Big 12 championship game in 2023, lost to Texas by 4 scores. So Alan Bowman started the game and went 8 of 22 with a pick. 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions last year. We were told he was going to be better this year. He is not better. He's a 7th-year quarterback, journeyman quarterback, Michigan, Texas Tech. He's not a top player. credit to him, he's been able to compete at the highest level and gain starting positions at Texas Tech and Oklahoma State, but he's not a very good quarterback. Garrett Rangel, the future, most likely, at Oklahoma State. We certainly hear that from our buddy Cody Stovall at Locked On OK State. He came into the game with 13 minutes left in the third quarter because they needed a spark badly. They were down probably 19-3 at that point. It was 22-3. His first couple shots were awful. He missed wide and off to the right, off to the left. In the 15 plays that Rangel was on the field, Oklahoma State's offense generated 32 yards. So they put Bowman back in the game. With 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he threw a pick on his first series. But then he got hot the last couple of series, led those two scoring drives, had 8 straight completions, and Mike Gundy said after the game that he will be the starting quarterback going forward, and Oklahoma State has a mighty important game coming up next week. And again, Bernard was remarkable in this game. Tough, spin moves, does everything, great balance, had a 61-yard run that's unlike most 61-yard runs you will see where it's all offensive line and basically just speed by the running back. No, he bounced off a zillion people, spun around, just kept fighting and working his way downfield. Broke a ton of tackles on that play. This Utah football team is, again, it's another edition of Utes football, born in the image of Kyle Whittingham. Speaking of which, this is the first matchup between these two longtime head coaches. I believe after Kirk Ferentz, they are the two highest tenured coaches in Power Conference football. All of football at this point, college football. They basically started both in 2005, although Whittingham took over the bowl game the previous season from Urban Meyer, so he's got the tenure by one game, but they've never faced each other until this day. And man, they lead similar programs in many ways. Now, Gundy has led a more offensive-minded program with more top-notch quarterbacks, wide receivers, and Whittingham, it's been more grinded out grit, front seven on defense, offensive linemen, tough it out football, but veteran rosters and a same mindset, very similar. They ran down, you could look at the records from these two. They roughly both have won 2 out of 3 games, about 67% winning percentages, very similar success. Obviously, they have not competed at the elite level, not competed for national championships, but very, very strong programs. And so Utah wins this game 22-19, key win for the Utes in the Big 12. So this is what's upcoming for Utah. They may have the easiest schedule in the Big 12. I don't know if this was the Big 12 basically saying, you know what? If they don't win the conference, we want them to be in a position with a sterling record to possibly get an at-large bid because they may be the only team in the conference that can pull that off because they've got a weak schedule. They've got Arizona coming up and really just a slate of mediocre games until they play Iowa State on November 23rd. For Oklahoma State, again, out-physicaled in this game. Again, similar to the Arkansas game a couple weeks ago, but Utah doesn't make the mistakes that an Arkansas team does. So for OK State, they got to go to Kansas State. The Wildcats playing BYU right now. So that's the big game in the Big 12 coming up next week. Your thoughts about Utah football, Oklahoma State, the Big 12 race. West Virginia defeated Kansas as well today in a key matchup. And again, Kansas State taking on BYU right here at the Voice of College Football.